That's what.
So with that said, we are gonna start with or do a roll call to order of a regular meeting. Jackie, can you please do a roll call?
Amanda Harness. Here. Andre Paul.
Here.
Steve Byers.
Here.
Ariel Owens. Present. Christopher Boyce.
Here.
Stacy Ramirez.
Present.
Danta Bynum. Here.
Awesome. Okay, so public participation, public comment. Members of the public who wish to speak to the board shall complete a request card prior to the start of the meeting. This section of the meeting will be reserved for comments from the public. All comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Criticism of individuals is not in order. Do we have any comments, Jackie?
No.
Awesome, okay. All right, moving on, board correspondence.
Yeah,
Updates?
you want me to
I
start?
wanna share? Anybody
Sure.
can share.
Last week I went to Tyler Elementary on Tuesday and visited, and that was fun and all, but I got to come back on Thursday for their curriculum night, which was, I think, really amazing. They put on this curriculum night, it was well attended by families, students had a great time. I got the tour. It's a very confusing building, but it's wonderful. And it really reassured me that I really think, and I've talked to other principals, that we've got a lot of great momentum going in this district this year, so I'm really proud of that. That's it.
And yeah, just to echo what Steve said, I got to visit on Wednesday Founders Cortland and Malta. And I can tell you across the board, we were told by every person I interacted with, the policies and things we've started to implement across the district have made very visible and noticeable changes to how they felt this school year is already going. So I do want to commend Dr. Garcia Sanchez for a job well done in that regard across the district. And then I also got to go to the community night that was put on by Amanda Quinette Parker, our director of DEI. Had great attendance and a lot of people very engaged with that, so I was very happy with that. And then I got to go to the open house at the high school as well that evening, which I thought went very well as well.
Yes, I too attended the open house. Shout out to everybody, staff, Dr. Larson, and your staff as well for putting up a great open house. So thank you for that. Very informational, and it's exciting to hear all the great things that are upcoming, for the school year. So thank you. Okay, so any other comments?
Just an update that I was able to schedule the student board member interviews. They confirmed, so I'll be interviewing 3 students tomorrow, and I'm excited about that.
Yes, so just a reminder about that. Ari, do you mind sharing the time for the interviews?
Yep, 5:15. I sent y'all an email before this, so I would not forget in this exact moment.
Okay.
But it's 5:15 to, I wanna say 6:40. Let me just double check.
And prior to that, I do have a meeting with DCTA, so are we still hosting it here?
Yep, it's here from 5:15 to 6:35, actually.
Awesome. Thank you for setting that up, or taking the lead on that. And thank you for the recommendations, Dr. Larson, and for working with us with that. Awesome, thank you. So we do not have current student board correspondence. Consent agenda. Let me see, right, that's the, we don't have anything. All right, so with that, we're looking to the approval of board minutes and obviously the consent agenda. Do we have consensus for that and do a motion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Roll call?
I need her in a second.
All right.
Andre Paul.
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Danta Bynum.
Yes.
Amanda Harness.
Yes.
And with that, we are moving on to old business. Thank you, Jackie. The first item of old business, ISU NIU Memorandum of Understanding for Tutoring 2023-2024. Ms. Teacher Salas, this is an action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the MOU between ISU, ISBE, NIU, and ISU for tutoring services for the 2023-2024 school year. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes.
Danta Bynum.
Yes.
Amanda Harness.
Yes.
Andre Paul.
Yes.
Item B, it is also, an action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the MOU for our continued partnership with the Network for College Success, University of Chicago. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Ariel Owens,
Yes.
Christopher Boyce,
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez,
Yes.
Santa Bynum,
Yes.
Amanda Harness,
Yes.
Andre Paul,
Yes.
Steve Byers.
Yes.
Item C, temporary facility permit Lincoln, Jefferson, Little John, Brooks, and Cortland. This is also an action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the temporary facility applications for Lincoln Elementary, Jefferson Elementary, Little John Elementary, Brooks Elementary, and Cortland Elementary. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Christopher Boyce,
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez,
Yes.
Santa Bynum,
Yes.
Amanda Harness,
Yes.
Andre Paul,
Yes.
Steve Byers,
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
Item D, which is an action item, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve administration to go out to bid for the following projects: seal coating, stripping at CRMS and Lincoln, concrete, ash splash repairs in the district, parking lot replacement at the educational center, restroom renovations at Jefferson, domestic water heater replacements, HMS, CRMS, and founders renovations at Brooks, roof replacement at Brooks, HVAC upgrades at CRMS and Brooks, new cooler freezer at Cortland. Is there a motion?
I would like to seek consensus from the board to remove 2 items from the bid list.
Okay, and what are those items?
I would like to remove the parking lot replacement at the education center and the renovations at Brooks Elementary for the SRO office.
Okay,
Renovations of Brooks, I'm sorry, is that, you said renovations of Brooks?
Yeah, the Brooks renovations for the SRO
Oh.
office. Now, how exactly do we seek that consensus, Jackie?
Roll call.
Oh, okay.
okay, so do we have consensus to remove that? Jackie, can you do a roll call for that, please?
Steve Byers,
Yes.
Ariel Owens,
Yes.
Christopher Boyce,
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez,
Yes.
Santa Bynum,
Yes.
Amanda Harness,
Yes.
Andre Paul.
Yes.
Okay, so we are removing, let me just write them down so I can make sure that I obviously, write them down. Okay, so it is recommended that the Board of Education, first we have to do a motion, right, Jackie? To remove it?
No,
Okay,
you already did it.
Or approve
You
it, I
already did
apologize,
Now you're
right,
just
so-
gonna,
name it again, all of them?
well, you'll say whatever
Okay.
minus, yep.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approve administration to go out for a bid for the following projects: seal coating, stripping, and CRMS and Lincoln, concrete, ash flat, repairs in the district, restroom renovations at Jefferson, domestic water heater replacement, HMS, and CRMS, founders, roof replacement at Brooks, HVAC upgrades at CRMS and Brooks, new cooler freezer and at Cortland. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Ariel Owens,
Yes.
Christopher Boyce,
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez,
Yes.
Santa Bynum,
Yes.
Amanda Harness,
Yes.
Andre Paul,
Yes.
Steve Byers.
No.
Okay, let's see, okay, then, item E is an action item. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the agreement with the DeKalb County Health Department to support vision and hearing screenings at our district schools and outplacement facilities for the year 2023-2024 school year. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Stacy Ramirez,
Yes.
Santa Bynum,
Yes.
Amanda Harness,
Yes.
Andre Paul,
Yes.
Steve Byers,
Yes.
Ariel Owens,
Yes.
Christopher Boyce.
Yes.
Okay, item F, it is recommended that the Board of Education approve the service agreement for CSES. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Santa Bynum,
Yes.
Amanda Harness,
Yes.
Andre Paul,
Yes.
Steve Byers,
Yes.
Ariel Owens,
Yes.
Christopher Boyce,
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez.
Yes. Okay, future elementary school business, do we have anything under there? Yes, okay, so a review of debt certificates, parameters, Mr. Armir Dorka.
We're coming to the board to authorize us to go for financing option for the construction of the new school. We have talked about this in our April and August FFC meeting where we discussed the financing options. The current option is the one that makes most sense, and it's also the most fiscally responsible option plan for us. We're gonna finance 33.8 million, which was authorized by the board. We're going for a over 20-year period, paying annually, and this is coming from the operating budget. We are keeping the promise to taxpayers that we are not getting this out of the local tax, property taxes, but from state sources such as EDF. I would like to bring Liz Hennessy. She is our financial advisor and underwriter for this financing option. She will walk you through our debt structure and what this new financing will look like. All right, so let's go ahead.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks for having me tonight.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna start this presentation by doing just a brief history of the district's outstanding debt. And then we'll talk about the debt certificates and the steps we've taken so far and the path to getting this completed. So in 2016, the district proceeded with a plan to restructure all of its debt. And it was refinanced over a number of years. The bonds were callable, and the reason was, number one, we had lots of savings to the taxpayers, and number two, we wanted to refinance bonds that had increasing payments that were issued in the middle of the Great Recession. So the district refunded its bonds in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, and in 2020. It also used some of its funds to pay off debt completely. So over these 5 different restructurings, the net present value savings to the taxpayers was $12,740,000. So that's the bonds that the taxpayers have a separate levy for, and so they're paying that annually. So here's what it meant to the taxpayer. If you look at this column second from the far right, that's what the payments for a $150,000 home would have been. And then under the green box, this is what they are. So we did stretch the debt out 5 more years, but instead of having a maximum payment for bonds around $765 a year, the annual payment's closer to $385 a year. And then here's just a graphic. So the red line represents what the payments were, because when the bonds were issued pursuant to the referendum, which was for $110 million for the new high school, transitioning the current high school to a middle school and several elementaries, we hit the Great Recession. So we put the debt far out at 10 years or after, and then all these refundings helped us restructure it. The blue bars are the current debt payments, and you can see they kind of dipped down here in 2018, 2019, and 2020. And that's because the board approved property tax reduction grants, which was a wonderful thing offered by the state of Illinois, for which the district was eligible, whereby if you abated your taxes for debt service and lowered the taxes to the community, they would reward you with some close to equal payments on the evidence-based funding that was a permanent increase. So the board very prudently took advantage of those opportunities, and you still have some abatements coming down the road with regard to that. So currently you have 6 bonds outstanding. These are the refunding bonds, and what we look at on this bond amounts is any call date. So your next call date is for the 2016s, that's January 1 of 25. Then the next year, January 26, the 17 and 18s are callable. And then in 2019, or 2028, the 2019s are callable, as well as the 2020 bonds. So what these call dates represent is your opportunity in the future, if interest rates stay low or come back down, to refinance these bonds. So we keep an eye on this for you, and we'll be reaching out if there's another opportunity there. here's your current debt limit based on the 2022 equal as assessed value. The district's gross debt limit is 144 million. You have 81 million of principal outstanding, so your net debt limit is 63 million. And here is the current equal as assessed value assumptions that we're using as we look at outstanding debt. The EAV has gone up substantially in '22 as the TIFs expire. And then we show the new property assumptions here. And these are all TIF expires or some of the fantastic new businesses coming into DeKalb, like Ferrara Candy, Amazon, Facebook. It's really wonderful how that new property is coming in. And what that means is the pie is bigger and the tax rate is lower for all taxpayers in the county, in the district. You do have TIF 3, which is rather small. That's still outstanding, about 6 or 7 million as time goes on. Malta TIF is gonna be coming off next in the year 2025. That'll represent new property to the EAV. And then the Cortland TIF comes off in the 2035. And then you do have this enterprise zone abatement for Ferrara Candy, which simply means that they get a 50% reduction on their tax bill as they continue to provide EAV to the district. So here's the outstanding debt service payments with these property tax reduction grant abatements. So here's the current debt service levies, about 7.5 million a year. And in 21 and 22, the district abated just under 6 million each of those years in return for that increased EBF payments. In the next years, 23, 24, 25, and so on, those abatements are estimated at 3 million, but those are decisions of the Board of Education that you make on an annual basis, depending on how your budget's going, if you can afford it, and then those would be reduced payments to the taxpayers. So currently, the debt payments for the home, you know, as I mentioned, they were super low in 21 and 22, $56.82, and then 200 for the years that you, if you abate the 3 million a year, and then 338, and the bonds are all then paid off in 2035. So those are the bonds that the taxpayers have a separate levy for. Here, the debt certificates, as our mayor mentioned, are paid from operating funds, so there's no separate levy, so there's no increase to the taxpayers for those. So debt certificates are used to do capital projects. You've got an elementary school you're leasing, and the debt certificates can provide a portion of that funding. So you can make your additions and renovations to that building with the proceeds of the debt certificates. The proceeds may only be used for capital projects, not operations. They are part of the debt limit, so they will count against your debt limit, which again is like 63 million right now, so 33 million is less than half. They're gonna be repaid over 20 years, and they'll be callable after 8 to 10 years, so you have the opportunity then to refund them for savings if they're available. So the thing that we always think about carefully when we talk about issuing debt certificates that are paid from the operating fund is that you can afford them in your budget annually. So our mayor and the finance committee has spent a lot of time looking at that, looking at your budget and making sure you're comfortable with those annual payments. So here's just an update on interest rates. It's kind of been a wild ride with the Fed increasing rates 10 times so far to combat inflation. That's caused our short-term interest rates to be higher. That's the red line. And let me just tell you, this graph shows interest rates on the y-axis and the years of the maturity or the payback on the x-axis. The dark line is the average over the last, since 1993. So the red line is above the average up till about year 6, but going forward, years 7 through 30, we're still lower on interest rates than we have been historically. So that's a little bit of good news, but we're getting right close to that average, which, you know, is not unexpected. But hopefully the Fed is done raising interest rates. The most recent conversations say that they are still determined to bring inflation down to 2%. So there may be more rate increases in the future. So I think it's smart to move forward and get this bond issue into the market now that you're ready to proceed with the projects. So here's what the debt certificate payback would look like. As Amir mentioned, the board authorized $33.8 million, paid back over 20 years. The annual payments are approximately $2,760,000 a year. This option has a 50 basis point cushion in it, so the interest rates are 0.5% higher than what we would see today. The all-in true interest cost is estimated with that cushion at 4.78%. So if we subtract the 50 basis points, we might be closer to 4.28% today. But this is, again, just an estimate. We try to be conservative. So far, we've started talking about this with the FFAC committee back in April. The board reviewed the lease agreement at its May meeting and approved the lease agreement at its July meeting. We had a meeting on August 16th with FFC to review a draft of the financing plan and the schedule for recommending this to the board. Tonight, we're reviewing the funding plan and draft parameters resolution that I'm going to talk about in a minute, and authorizing the sale of bonds within certain parameters subject to the approval of board delegates. So you will have this resolution to consider for approval at your Board of Education meeting on September 19th. Once the board has approved it, Amir is going to send out an RFP for investment management services. We're going to meet with the bond rating agencies to get the bond rating upgraded or updated. We have a very strong bond rating of AA2, which is just 2 notches from the very highest possible bond rating because of your good financial management. So we assume that's going to be renewed, but we have to make a presentation to the rating agencies to get that done. October 17th represents the date that we're going to mail the offering document to potential investors in these debt certificates. And before we can do that, we need to make sure that the district is done with this 120-day due diligence period that it has with the city, just to make sure you've got all the approvals that you need to move forward with the construction at the school site. So we can always delay if you're not ready to waive that due diligence period, but the way things are going, I think you're in good shape to stay on the schedule. And then if all that goes well, we'll sell the bonds the week of October 23rd, and then we'll close the week of November 13th, which is what time you'll get the investments and be able to get ready to bid your projects. So I'll just pause here and see if the board has any questions on this information. Okay, if not, you do have, I believe, in your board packet a big document. This is the parameters bond resolution. So this is the action you'll be considering at your September 19th meeting. And what it does is it allows the board to approve the issuance of up to $35 million of debt certificates. And you may ask, why is it authorizing up to $35 million when the board has said they only want $33.8 million? Well, when we get out into the bond market, some investors like discount bonds where they will accept a lower rate at a a lower discounted interest rate in return for a higher premium up front. So that would require a little bit higher par amount of bonds sold than 33.8 million. I don't think that's gonna happen, but we have that as an outside parameter in this resolution, just in case we have investor demand for that type of discount bond. The parameters resolution also has a maximum interest rate of 5%, a maximum annual payment of 3.1 million. We expect it to be closer to 2.7 million, as we just showed in the presentation, but again, these are outside parameters. And then 20 years. This resolution also designates your assistant superintendent or your business manager, CSBO, our mayor, and the board president to give the final okay on the pricing of the bonds. So that will be done by a phone call with Dr. Garcia Sanchez as well, once we get into the market on that week of October 23rd, if everything's still looking good for the sale that week. So once we have confirmed it's within the parameters the board authorized in this resolution and the approval of the board president, our mayor, and Dr. Garcia Sanchez, the bond issue will be, the bond purchase agreement will be signed, and then we will close about a month later, November 13th. And the board will have no other legal action to take with regard to the debt certificates. The payments again will be budgeted annually as part of the budgeting process. Any questions on the resolution? Questions? No?
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So then again, this is just information that we have to review so that obviously we are ready to make our vote for the following
Yeah.
meeting, correct?
So we're bringing in as approval next board meeting.
Okay, the 19th. Thank you. Any questions for Amir? No? Thank you. Okay, so item B, it is request for proposals for management of debt proceeds and arbitrage, that's why you're standing up. Okay, and this is an information item as well.
Yeah, this is an information item. We're just coming to the board to allow us to go for a bid for investment advisors. So we have the calendar right there. As soon as we get the approval on September 19th, the next day I will send out to investment advisors on managing these proceeds. The reason we need an outside expert is to maximize our interest earnings on these proceeds. There's a few regulations, there is an arbitrage issue, but we're gonna have investment advisors maximizing the benefits, maximizing our interest earnings, and that comes back to us. It can come in the form of, we can use it as an operation for our operating funds, or we can use it to pay back a little bit of debt. So we're asking the board to go out. The RFP is also attached, and we're going out right next, the following day of the approval of this,
Any consensus for that?
to bring it back. Yep.
Okay. Do we have consensus for that?
Yes.
Thank you, Amir.
Thank you.
All right, new business, item A, benefit rate proposals for 2024, Ms. Deidre Salas, and this is information.
Good evening. We come to you each September with information about our benefit renewals regarding insurance for our staff. We come to you each September with this. So we have representatives from DLR Insurance, our benefit consultants, Doug Richardson and Adam Fredrickson, who work very close with us and supporting us with our needs as it relates to health insurance, dental, vision, and some other employee self-sponsored benefits, as well as our EAP program and some other things. So Doug can take it from here. What's up on your presentation?
I'm glad you're playing that instead of me. I'd be lost.
Got it, I got it.
She's trying.
It's in the board packet, it looks just like this one right here. There you go. You got it.
Yay.
Thank you, Ted.
Thank you,
Much
Thank you.
appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are you gonna do the slideshow version of it, please, so we can, thank you.
Benjamin, I might need you back.
I just hit present.
Thank you.
And then which one of the sides, was it this one or this one? I'm left-handed, so it
Use
just did it.
Yep.
Thank you. Good evening. We met with the insurance committee and are coming forward to present the calendar year 24 benefit and rate renewal. Okay. This, I hate to say COVID. Everybody's heard of COVID, and we are still dealing with COVID in the health insurance marketplace right now. We're also dealing with that, besides COVID, a lot of the things that were postponed are now being done, especially with our dental insurance. So one of the key factors that we look at is loss ratio, the amount of money we pay the insurance company to the amount of claims that they pay. And the district has paid more in claims and less in premium the last 3 years. So hopefully that trend is about to end this year and we've really got caught up to where we need to be with COVID. We also are dealing with inflation and a lot of the new diabetic drugs that everybody probably seen all the commercials on to lose weight. They're extremely expensive. They may be FDA approved during the year and the insurance companies really aren't sure how to manage those costs quite yet. So we're gonna see a few things that are gonna affect the insurance, but overall, I think the district's in a great position moving forward this year. The proposals that we got, Blue Cross Blue Shield was the most advantageous to remain with for an additional year, and so that's what we're proposing. One of the other major factors that we've dealt with is the district has 38 large dollar claimants. That means claims on individuals that are in excess of $50,000. We have 11 of those high dollar claimants that are ongoing that need to be managed. And we also have one large dollar claim that was over $600,000 this year. And that's the largest individual claim that we've had since we've been involved with the district, 6 years or so. Pharmacy has gone up, and a lot of it has gone up because of the specialty medications. I'm getting ahead of myself here, let's see where I'm going. You said hit enter, right?
That should be the arrows.
Arrows, there we go. Sorry about that. Specialty medication on those large dollar claimants has gone up 45% during this last 12 months. So in the packet, we put together a current census so that you would know the approximate number of employees that participate in each program. Medical, dental, vision, pharmacy, the voluntary benefits, basic life, and LifeLock. The medical insurance and dental are combined with Blue Cross Blue Shield. We've got iMed for vision and Voya for the voluntary products. The life insurance is with Blue Cross Blue Shield and LifeLock again. And the reason that the medical, dental, and vision are all combined with Blue Cross is because they offer us bundled discounts by doing so. And 1.5% is a lot when we're talking about these premiums that we're paying on the medical side. Covered that one. So bottom line is, the way Blue Cross Blue Shield works is you get a blended rate between the three plans. We've got two PPOs, and we've got an HMO, and you get one blended rate no matter how well each one of those plans are doing individually. Okay? If they were rated separately, it turns out that the $1,700 high deductible PPO would have received a 22% rate increase and the HMO would have received a 3%. Okay, but there's a blended rate, so they're 5.7% increase. The HMO again is exactly the same thing, 5.7%. The dental is 6.37% increase. And again, the loss ratio on that was about 147%. Again, hopefully, and they're banking on the fact that it's gonna turn itself around this year. IMED, we've been with IMED now, they were MES, we were with them for several years. MES was bought by IMED. We had IMED several years ago, and we're in a multi-year rate guarantee with the vision plan, so that one will remain the same. There were some enhancements made last year to the vision, and I forgot, there's no benefit reductions this year in any of them, just rate increase. Okay, on the medical and dental. Voya products, last year we came to the board, Voya enhanced their benefits and reduced their premiums for their voluntary benefits, and those are also in a rate guarantee, and those remain the same. The employee assistance program started. We've had an employee assistance program in the past, but we went to Halcyon. They offer a substantially higher level of care. We are definitely seeing industry-wide an increase in the mental and nervous benefits, and it's very important that we take care of all plan members in the district, and they can do so through the EAP. This EAP is 3 visits per 6 months, or 6 visits during the year per member, which is a great opportunity. Basic life insurance is included, and LifeLock. Everybody's probably heard of LifeLock. We've got enrollment coming up through Business Solvers. They do the enrollment software platform, and my choice is the FSA, and that has not changed. Are there any questions about benefits?
So I guess the one question I have is you said that the rates went up, the benefits didn't go down. Yet when I was on my school visits just last week, I spoke with a staff member that has an allergy med that stops her from breaking out into painful hives. She now has to pay $3,000 a month if she wants to continue to receive that exact same thing she was getting last year because the insurance is no longer covering it. How is that not a reduction in benefits?
We're not aware of that, and they need to reach out to us. All of the carriers have a formulary that they use for pharmaceutical. We need to know about that because there's a lot of other options that are available and ways to get that covered. So anytime any of you run across literally any issues with pharmacy, please let us know immediately and we will get involved in it.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
This will come back at the next meeting, the 19th, for approval.
Thank you. Alright, so, do we have consensus to bring it back then?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Alright, item B, under new business, DeKalb High School marching band students overnight out-of-state travel, Dr. Donna Larson.
All right, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Good news to share, our band is seeking permission for 140 members to travel to Indianapolis, Indiana. They're going to participate in the Band of America Super Regional. I have to read off of it because we keep getting invited to all of these fun things. So this will be in Indianapolis, Indiana. They're gonna be competing amongst 70 and more marching bands in the regional area. So we're coming to you today to seek permission for that out-of-state travel.
And this is an information item, correct?
It is, and they are going the 22nd. Yep, in October. Thanks.
How many students are traveling, I'm sorry?
140.
In October.
Yep, October.
Awesome. And the funding for this trip is from each student individually fundraising, and the family's paying the remaining fee.
Correct.
Great words to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Great.
Thank you. And congratulations on, obviously, that's awesome.
Thank you. It's fun.
Alright, CASEL conference, our CASEL conference, out-of-state travel, Mr. Kyle Gertis. It's an information item.
right, good evening. The Collaborative for Academic, Social, and Emotional Learning, otherwise known as CASEL, and CASEL is kind of the leading pioneer in SEL implementation across the country. They are hosting their annual conference November 7th through the 9th down in Atlanta, Georgia. Last school year, Dr. Lisa Becker and Sarah Bates, Lisa's our Assistant Director of Student Services, Sarah's our SEL Coordinator. They actually were able to get some grant funding to try out an intervention with some of our families of kiddos at our Early Learning Development Center. In general, the overall goal was to help those families be best prepared to support their students that have higher needs. What they did is they took the data from their kind of research project, which they needed to collect as they went through the grant process. Turned out that they saw a pretty good effect in terms of general good outcomes for those families. And so they submitted a proposal for the CASEL conference to present those findings and represent our district. They were accepted to present those findings, and so I'm here asking for your support to help them attend the conference. So not only can they learn what CASEL is offering through other sessions, but also be able to present their research that they obtained last spring semester. So in total, the cost for conference registration, hotel accommodations, flight and ground transportation is $5,492. Any questions?
Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, PLC PD for DHS Building Administration, out-of-state travel request, Sarah Montgomery. This is an information item.
Good evening. This past summer, we sent a team of administrators from elementary and middle school to PLC Professional Development in Madison, Wisconsin, but unfortunately not everyone could go due to conflicts in their own personal lives or attending other professional development sessions, which is the case with the high school team. They were involved and engaged in other professional development while that was happening. So there's one in Iowa. There were other ones in other regions of the country that seemed far more exciting than Iowa, but not as local. So Iowa it is, and that's October 2nd to the 4th. And it was very well received this past summer in Madison, so we wanted to make sure that we were able to send other administrators. So Donna and her team would like to go. This is funded by Title II for professional development. Any questions? Thank you.
Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, item E, differential increase, bilingual differential increase, Ms. Teacher Salas. This is an information item.
In April of '23, we came to the board with differential requests, and one of those that was on our full list were differentials for our bilingual staff. That includes our DCTA members, which are teachers, and our student support staff. Those that provide direct classroom instruction and other teachers that support in different ways, but positions that are titled and designated as bilingual. Well, we've done a good job of recruiting, and that maximum was up to 55 positions. We are now just about to exhaust those 55 positions, but as we're able to hire more, we're asking that that cap be removed and that we just have an open number of positions. The differential is $4,000. You can also see on the board agenda what the cost is, including TRS and Medicare. So we're asking for an open amount of allocation for our bilingual differentials.
Now, is this for the teachers that are a part of like our dual language program and those kind of?
Yes.
Alright.
Questions? That's awesome that that we're exhausting that and that we have obviously teachers that are fulfilling that, so thank you. And great job with that. Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, your next item. Administrator and teacher salary benefit report, 2022-2023, Ms. Teacher Salas.
Annually, we come before you and provide the administrator and teacher salary report for the previous school year. Per school code, this is required to be approved by the board. It is a listing of just that, salaries for teachers, salaries and benefit compensation for administrators and teachers. Pending board approval, we then post that on our website. tonight is coming for both information and approval. This is what happens annually as we have a requirement to post it on our website.
Alright, so then we have to vote on it then, right, Jackie? Alright, do we have a motion for that?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
I'm gonna read the whole.
Oh, okay. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the administrator and teacher salary benefits report for 2022-2023 for website publication. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Andre Paul,
Yes.
Steve Byers,
Yes.
Ariel Owens,
Yes.
Christopher Boyce,
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez,
Yes.
Santa Bynum,
Yes.
Amanda Harness.
Yes.
Thank you. Item G, this is speech language pathologist intern agreement with Midwestern, Ms. Deidre Salas and Mr. Kyle Curtis.
Yep, Kyle and I are
Information.
this one together. Midwestern University reached out to us, and they have an intern that would like to work with one of our speech and language therapists. So I'll let Kyle take it from there.
So just really the only thing to add is it's a great opportunity for us not only to have an intern in the district who can learn their craft under the supervision of one of our excellent SLPs, but it also is a great pipeline into hopefully finding out that that's an awesome SLP and that we want to retain and hire and make an offer. I think having interns, student teachers, things like that are one of the best ways that we can recruit and retain them for full-time employment. So there is no, you might have said this, there's no fiscal cost to this at all. Any questions?
Questions? Consensus to bring this back?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we are having to do a motion to remove item H, correct, Jackie? Alright, so, let me see. So do we have a consensus to remove, or do I do motion right for this?
Somebody needs a motion to pull H
Okay.
second and then roll.
I'll move that we remove item H.
Thank you. Do we have, is there a motion? Second.
Second.
Remove that. Thank you. Roll call.
Amanda Harness,
Yes.
Andre Paul,
Yes.
Steve Byers,
Yes.
Ariel Owens,
Yes.
Christopher Boyce,
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez,
Yes.
Santa Bynum.
Awesome, thank you. And then item I, superintendent goals. This is an information action. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the superintendent goals for the 2023-2024 school year. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Christopher Boyce,
Yes.
Stacy Ramirez,
Yes.
Santa Bynum,
Yes.
Amanda Harness,
Yes.
Andre Paul,
Yes.
Steve Byers,
Yes.
Ariel Owens.
Yes.
All right, and then the next thing, superintendent update, superintendent report.
I get really excited because you know that's what it means, right? I get to do the highlights. So first and foremost, I want to shout out the community conversation we had last week Wednesday over at the new school. We had a record turnout. It was amazing. We did have quite a number of little ones, which was really exciting because they're excited about the prospect of a new school in town. They definitely had questions and suggestions about what they'd like to see there. Plenty of questions that were asked. I know that we also had some folks asking questions about other things during our community conversations. So in the future, you might see that the format might change a little bit so that the target or the focus of the conversation is what we intended it to be there. And then when that conversation ends, then we will open it up to the floor to ask other questions. That way we get to be able to tell the full story behind the purpose of the meeting. We, this time we took it a little bit different and we opened it up first with questions that kind of led us a little astray from what our initial intention was. We did get to the fruition of what we needed to talk about, but we just want to make sure that we're a little bit more organized. Definitely was well attended, definitely a lot of great feedback. We did get 21 individuals interested in partaking and being a part of a committee for the new school. So that's exciting to see. Then we had senior night over at the high school on Friday, and I was over with Dr. Larson. We were on the front lines with our seniors in our orange and black, cheering them on, congratulating them and their families as they received their flowers from their kiddos, being their senior year and what that's gonna mean for them in their final year. So great time had by all, especially because we won both games. So just had to throw that out there, that was exciting times. And then good to see some of you out there on the field, so thank you for showing up. Thanks to that. The next thing up I'd like to mention is the superintendent's September monthly message came out on our day back on the first. I took a little turn a little differently this time, only because there's some great things happening out in our schools that I want to mention. So plenty of shout outs, things like over at the high school, we have attendance, the check-in for the IDs coming in from the outside, and all kinds of, kids actually wearing their IDs. We wanna make sure that we keep that message consistent, everybody wears their IDs, the kids watch that the adults in the building do that as well. That way nobody has to go behind them and say, hey, put your ID on. I know that board member Chris Boyce was there to witness a couple of those things. Jackie has been over there to kind of give some feedback, but definitely some great things happening across every school, every one of our schools. JJ, our security manager, has been over to many of the buildings to check out what drop-off looks like. As parents are excited about dropping off their little ones and their big ones, because a lot of our high school kiddos get dropped off too. We've noticed some things that I think we need to tweak, right? So we need to be very careful about where we leave our cars running and then cross a street in the middle of the block to walk over our kiddos to a building. We need to be careful because other cars may be coming through and aren't always very careful. So I'm a little nervous about that. I don't want there to be an accident. Thank goodness there hasn't been one, but I don't want there to be one and then say, hey, we should have been more careful. So I'm putting it out there now. I put it in the monthly message. Let's follow the process and the protocols that we put into place that keeps everybody safe. Because if we do that, then the guarantee is that they will be safe, right? That's why we have the lines. I know sometimes it feels like it takes forever to get through the line, but it keeps everybody safe. Sometimes we also want to go in through the out lane. Let's be careful of that as well. As others are following the process, we don't want them to inadvertently hit another car or a person while they're doing that. So let's just be careful of that. But most of all, and more importantly, is all things are great. I hate to put something like that out there and then cross my fingers. I'm all about the positive, nothing but good things coming. We've had a lot of lessons learned. We have school leaders here in cabinet that'll tell you that we're seeing some great things happening. We want to continue that to be the case. So just excited, right, Officer Sullivan? We're all good over there. And we want to continue it to be that way. And I think that's it. It is. That's it for me. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so with that said, we will call the meeting, the meeting will adjourn. Everybody, all in favor, say aye.
Motion?
Or motion. I apologize, Jackie.
Sorry. We'll get it back.
Motion. I'll finish to do, and then Jackie, remind me again, I apologize.
So who's motioning?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Now, all in favor?
Now, all in favor, say aye.